morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I am Josh, that is Jason, and we got a special guest tonight. Jeff is joining us.
What's up, everyone?
This is the Redpill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and then Friday again with you at 8:30 p.m. with Conversations on the Fringe, where this week, I don't know, I told Jay already, we're going to be talking about military bases, dumb, deep underground military bases. We're going to be talking about some interesting stuff tomorrow. So you guys are going to absolutely love that episode. That is tomorrow with Conversations on the Fringe at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time right here on this channel. We are live back on our secondary primary channel. I think if that's what you want to call it, secondary primary channel, if that makes sense. Don't know how much longer we're going to be there. I didn't have a very nice email to them earlier. Anyways, so there is another alternative channel down there. It is a burner channel, as we call it. And then we are on all the other platforms. Make sure you are on the platforms, and at the very least, make sure you are on the socialredpill.com, because that is where we post everything pertaining to where this show is going to be broadcast, where all of our shows are, where all the backups are, and all those good things. I hope everybody is doing well today and enjoying this adventure in Wonderland, as I like to call it. Things are just getting more and more interesting as the day goes by, kind of like ludicrous in a sense. I know Jay probably didn't have time to go through too much of the news today because he's been busy with work, but did you see what happened with Biden?
Which one? Where he is Invisible Man and he puts his hands through the microphone?
I saw that. I just saw a clip of it.
Yeah, I saw it, and I was like, what
it's crazy. Like, how can you not think that he's using a green screen at this point? I mean...
The question is why?
Well, where, why and where is he, really?
Well, I think it goes back to my original theory, is that Jill is sprinkling a little something in his Wheaties, and they can control him that way. Actually, what I was talking about, though, was Vladimir Putin. Biden comes out and calls him a killer, and Putin says, hey, I challenge you to a live debate, no scripts. And then, after the White House says no, they decline, he wishes Joe Biden good health. Think about that. I wish you good health. I think Putin knows something that we all don't know. Well, that we know that we've suspected, but can't really verify, right? But I think there's enough information to verify it. And I think by July, mid-July, August, Kamala will be the president. Joe Biden will be out. It was interesting. I watched X22 the other night, or listened to X22 the other night. And although I disagree with a lot of the direction, he did say some interesting things. And one of the interesting things he did say was that Trump, and this is something we reiterated here, is that Trump made it incredibly difficult for them to implement their agenda. And we knew that, and that was kind of what the 4 years were for, is for Trump to basically make moves, get other countries comfortable doing things a certain way, of where when they try to make moves, it's really difficult to do that. And look at the border problem right now. It is blowing up in Biden's face. Now, we have the immigrant children coming over that are being overflowed by Customs and Borders Patrol. That's taking people off the border. Now we have human traffickers basically bringing people over, drugs flowing over. We got the National Guard in Texas being deployed. And then today, Biden won't declare an emergency, but yet he came through and says, and this was today, Mexican officials say that Biden administration is quietly pressing Mexico to limit the flow of illegal immigrants coming into the U.S. in action imitating the Trump administration.
Shadow presidency, anybody?
Yeah, there you go. Shadow presidency, or really what's happening right here. Representative Andy Biggs, he put out this from the House Judiciary GOP Committee. 9 members of the House Judiciary Committee demand a hearing on the Biden border crisis. You notice it's not the Trump border crisis, because there was nothing wrong with the border when Trump was there, because he went in and fixed the problems with it. Now what we're seeing is the Biden border crisis. And so 9 members of the House Judiciary Committee are going to have a hearing on this. And hopefully they get the right people there and have them under oath, right? Legally obligated to answer the right questions. And I'm pretty sure they're going to call them the same people that are basically saying that, basically these same people that come in and say, well, we're told not to. We're told to leave the borders open. We're told to watch the children.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen. Watch.
That's kind of funny. You know, we're having all this issue with the border again, and what Trump's last real major appearance publicly was like a speech while he was president was at the Alamo.
Right on the border, on the Alamo, 45 miles of border wall.
Yeah, and very interesting.
And he said that the border is more important than you can ever imagine.
Well, I mean...
Well, too, there's reports... Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
I was just going to make a comment about all the drugs that are flowing across the border.
Yeah.
They're literally using these children as pawns.
Mm-hmm.
So the children take up all the manpower from the Border Patrol and ICE to, take care of them and put them in these facilities. Meanwhile, the other stuff's happening 10 miles down the road, and they're just...
Yep.
Flooding in. And it makes me wonder, how long is it going to be before we start seeing people overdosing in mass numbers again? Because fentanyl is coming across the border.
Yep, exactly. And so this is going to be pretty crazy here. So I wanna show this, and this is
What did you have to say?
Let's stick with what you're saying. I think this
Jay,
is important. Go ahead, Jay.
What did you have to say?
Well, not only are the illegals coming in from South America and Central America, they're finding that illegals from terrorist organizations or countries are coming in, meaning people that are probably
Middle East or mostly immigrated from Venezuela.
Yeah. Yep. And that, my friends, is a big problem, especially when we know that a couple of weeks ago, we were already told that Iran has secret cells in Washington, D.C. So we know that. And now all of a sudden we're being told that people that are, considered to be terrorists or within terrorist countries are coming into our border illegally. Yep. And who's responsible for that? Not Donald Trump. Joe Biden is.
Yeah.
That's right. Joe Biden's the president right now. And so if there is some type of terrorist attack that derives from this, they came over from the border, it's Joe Biden who's at fault. It's Kamala Harris who's at fault for their policies that they're doing right now.
Not only that, look, Trump had 4 years with a Democrat Congress. They should have fixed the laws and addressed that issue, when he was in office. Like he was saying, well, let's take care of the problem. Oh, no, you're putting kids in cages. If people can't see through the farce of
the hypocrisy,
the hypocrisy of our politicians by now, sometimes I wonder if there's. I mean, those are the people that you think they're never gonna come around.
Well, so think about this, and for anybody out there who's new to this show, let me give you a little background on what Jeff is talking about. And if you're a Democrat or a liberal or left-leaning out there, listen very carefully. The current laws that are in effect at the border were passed by a Republican Congress and signed into law by a Democrat president in 2012 to 2014 under Barack Obama. This is at a time when we had a Democrat Senate, okay? Which means that it was a partisan vote to put those border laws in effect. In 2016, when Trump came in, they tried a very controversial policy, which failed because it didn't have the support of the lawmakers. And they called Trump out for it, but all Trump really did was enforce the current laws on the book that were passed by the Republicans and the Democrats for 8 years prior. So Trump comes in and he enforces the actual laws that they implemented, and they hammer him for it as if this was his policy. He then says, if you have a problem with it, change it. And for 4 years of Trump, the Congress, Democrat Democrat House of Representatives did absolutely nothing except yell at him, criticize him, mock him, and burn him at the stake for his policies on the border when they are the ones who make the laws. You have to understand that. They are the one who make policy, and they did nothing. Nothing at all.
Think of this hypocrisy. Do you remember when he was trying to get funding for the wall? Like, what was it? $3 billion or something like that? And they're like, oh my God, we can't spend $3 billion. Dude, how many stimulus payments how much stimulus did they just send to other countries?
Oh, they gave Pakistan, $8 billion for gender studies or something?
No, it was like $10 million or something like that, but still.
It was more than 10 million. It's like 300 million.
Still. Like, really? Come on.
It's hypocrisy.
They're giving
finest,
so
man.
much money away that from supposedly we're going to be paying it back. I mean, it's
Well, I'm telling you,
I don't know.
I've been saying this for a while, and I said it today in our crypto group meeting. And I guess you get kind of an inside scoop on that crypto group meeting. But I said it today I said, I'm incredibly excited when 100 million people flock to Michael Lindell's social network. Because then, think about how powerful we can become on that platform when we say, hey, let's do a protest, a national protest. Instead of all of us going to Washington, D.C., let's drain the swamp by taking their money away. And let's do a 100 million person tax protest and say we're not fucking paying taxes. Imagine that if every person, you get 100 million people on that platform, and it is put on there that we are doing a tax protest until they bring about an investigation into voter fraud, that the Supreme Court hears the case of Donald J. Trump's election fraud. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's true or not, at least we'll be able to find out the truth. At least we'll be able to see it on the big screen. The evidence will be able to have a discovery process. It'll be able to be weighed. And you know what? If he lost the election, he lost the election. I have no problem accepting that. But I'd like the discrepancies investigated.
Dude, what happened to all the information on the servers from, what was it, France?
Citadel servers? The Citadel servers?
Yeah, what happened to all that? Like, I think I just read today that the FBI came out and said that they actually deleted, lost the data off of Hunter's laptop.
Of course, they lost all the data. Off of Hillary Clinton's laptop, off of Hunter's laptop. Listen. Nobody is going to do anything until the majority hold these people responsible. And the way we hold them responsible is in protest. That is the First Amendment. That is our right. And if we want to protest an unconstitutional act like taxes, then we should.
So I think you're right, Josh. I think that once... I think you were right from yesterday, and I think you were right from a few days ago by saying that Mike Lindell is going to come out with a platform that can't be censored by big tech. And what I mean by that is that that platform is going to start to create these types of events because they can't be deleted and they can't be censored.
That's right.
We're going to have millions of people in DC flocking to it.
We don't need millions of people in D.C. Actually, we need to stay the hell away from D.C. Just sit in your house. And all you have to do is go to your employer and take your the amount of your deductions and put it to 99. That's it. Done.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody changes that, you can sue the shit out of them.
What did you say last week? Remember what you said about being tax exempt?
Yeah, I identify as tax exempt.
Listen, I was thinking about it on my way home today, and I was like, this would be great because the IRS is going to tell you, no, we don't recognize that. And as soon as they do that, they're discriminating against me.
That's right. They're discriminating against you because of the policies under executive orders.
Yep, and you can sue the fuck out of them. And you know what? Let's just do it. Not because
you need to have a little bit of financial backing to fight that case, right?
But who's going to be the guinea pig? Are you going to do it, Jay?
Probably.
I mean, seriously,
yeah,
the thing
not.
is if you're going to do it, we need millions of people, tens of millions of people to literally do it.
So Jay,
not just one person.
Let's find out from the chat. Will you guys support me? GoFundMe. Help me pay for my lawyer.
So Jay, This is Celeste Ning. She's a fiction writer, science nerd, ex-Clevelander, embarrassing sincere, right, from Cambridge, Massachusetts. She's on Twitter. And today she put out general rule. People don't get to decide whether they are racist. Other people decide this based on their actions. Okay? You know what I said? According to your own logic, you are I put a racialist, but you are a racist, Celeste. Good job. You've just proved yourself to be less intelligent than a monkey counting bananas. And I did spell that wrong. I just realized that because I was fast. But think about that. What is she saying there? People don't get to decide whether you don't get to decide whether you're racist. Other people decide whether you're racist. That's a dangerous dictation, isn't it? That is incredibly dangerous. Mm-hmm. Other people. So here's the thing. And what we're seeing transpire in society is that if you're white, you don't get to decide that. If you're white, you don't get to decide anything.
Well, guess what? According to her logic, we can basically just say, guess what? I'm other people and you are racist.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I identify as Asian today.
It's the same damn thing.
Yep.
I don't know. I always thought that to fight the identity stuff, you really have to have people that have genetic disorders to identify as not having genetic disorders. And then when they go to tell them, oh no, you oh really? Guess what? So that person there with this is their DNA and their chromosomes, they can identify as this, but I can't?
That's right. Because you're white and you have white privilege.
Well, no. Like, say if somebody with a developmental disability or something.
So the question is how, can they identify as somebody who's normal?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Why can't they?
I mean, they limit their real kind of rights.
I almost wonder, because we all have a common friend and relative who is who has an illness. I wonder what it would be like if he went to the state that he's in and says, I no longer identify as this.
I don't think he would ever do that.
I wonder if a prisoner in jail came out and said, I no longer identify as a murderer, as a thief. Do they have to recognize that right then? And now a lot of people are saying, well, that has nothing to do with genetics. Well, exactly. It's how they feel. And this is what we've been told. Right? And if they want to take it to the next level, is that being a murderer is hereditary. Being a psychopathic is hereditary. Being a thief is hereditary. And if that's the case, we have the ability to change our genetic expression.
I really don't want to go down that path because I don't think people that are that sick in the head should have the ability to even think about that type of logic,
I think that there's a social norm, and I think there's also this this gray zone. And look, if you are an able-bodied human being that can sustain yourself and take care of yourself and has all your responsibilities in order, and you're not like a ward of the state, and you want to identify as a 90-year-old disabled Asian lady, go right ahead.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. I actually support you. If that's how you feel.
My final stance on that is you can identify whatever you want, but don't force me to adhere to your delusions.
And congratulations, we're about to get this channel deleted, so good job. Joking. So guys, this was freaking nuts. Do you all remember last year, John Magufuli, who's the Tanzanian president? This guy didn't trust his own medical team in his country. Yes. So he went out and tested a goat and a fruit for COVID, sent the test results to the WHO, and both the results came back positive, and he called bullshit.
Let me guess. He died today.
He's dead.
No way.
So, Tanzanian's president, John Magufuli, dies at 61. He's been missing for 13 days. No one had seen him, and he turns up in the hospital dead of a heart attack.
There's nothing wrong with
that. The second denier, head of state denier, dead in the last week.
Whoa.
Still think this is a game?
No. We'll circle back to that.
We'll circle back around to that one. That was on our platform, and I thank everybody. A few people shared that, so there wasn't one single point, but I did want to put that out there. Thanks to everybody on the platform for sharing that with me. This was interesting. This was just trending. It's now Chicken Joe, but it was trending in the sense of Chicken Joe and President Harris. But I guess, what was it that Putin said? I hate how this stuff updates. Oh, so listen to this. So Sky News says, Vladimir Putin has responded to the U.S. President Joe Biden's accusations that he is a killer by saying it takes one to know one. And the Russian president said he wishes Biden good health. I mean, Putin's a killer. The dude is an evil man, probably doing evil things to keep his country safe, right? But that's just awesome.
Yeah. I'm not going to try to digress from that, but did you see that 21 states now suing Biden for revoking the Keystone Pipeline permit?
So this is interesting. I got it right here, Jay.
Do you?
This was multiple red states to sue Biden administration, citing lack of authority to revoke Keystone XL permit.
Who called that one?
Well, we did. We did months ago.
Yeah.
I said, watch oil skyrocket.
So watch. It's up to the states now to actually take control.
It's up to the states, 100%. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the states step forward. And this is what? How many states, Jay? 21 red states?
21.
So, like this gun bill that's coming across, we got to make D.C. a state. These are all constitutional authority of which do not lie within the hands of Congress. So I'm interested to see where this is all going to go. This was interesting. I saw this trending on Twitter. Trump blamed the virus on the Chinese, which spurred an increase in hate crimes against Asian Americans. Not true. Republicans eat it up. He downplayed the virus, and now 500,000 plus are dead. Not true. Retweet if you agree it's Trump's flu. Notice how they call it the flu, not virus. Yeah, 500,000 Americans dead because of the GOP and Trump inaction. See, this whole narrative is coming back again. There it is. Whole narrative's coming back again. Just fake news, propaganda, 100% bullshit. And then Rand Paul today. Rand Paul snaps at Dr. Fauci over masks. You've been vaccinated and you parade around in 2 masks for show, Rand Paul scoffed. You're defying everything we know about immunity by telling people to wear a mask that have been vaccinated. By the way, Rand Paul is a medical doctor. So, I mean, he knows something about these things. And, you're defying everything we know about. This is a quote from Rand Paul, YouTube. This is a quote from Rand Paul. You're defying everything we know about immunity by telling people to wear a mask that have been vaccinated. Agreed. And I remember talking to multiple liberals who were telling me that they're going to be immune after they get their vaccines and that they can walk down the street and they don't have to wear masks. But now that's not what they're saying. Now, I saw this funny YouTube or TikTok, just one comedian, and he was saying, I have if I go outside, I have a 5% chance of getting COVID. If I stay inside, I got a 100% chance of not getting COVID. But then they tell me that if I get the vaccine, it's 95% effective. And he looks and he goes, so there's a 5% chance if you get a vaccine that you'll get sick. Now, I'm not a genius in mathematics or anything. But tell me how the vaccine, with those statistics coming from the WHO, from the FDA, 95% effective, the AstraZeneca vaccine, 95% effective. This is a quote as per their comments, YouTube. It's 95% effective. And then there's a 5% chance that you get COVID if you go outside. So what's the point? It's a 5% chance either way.
Do you, you think back pre-COVID, you dared to breathe air. Oh my God, I'm gonna. Oh my God, I'm breaking the law.
Well, you know what's interesting is you could probably see.
You can't breathe anymore.
You could probably see something within the climate accord, the carbon tax arena about air, and that
being a mouth breather.
Yeah, that there could be. I bet there could be some type of immunity tax. In the sense that you're providing germs to the air while you breathe, and therefore to support a social medical system, you have to pay a breathing tax on air.
So now
watch it happen.
Now they're going to tax our air, huh?
Some deep stater right now is just taking notes like, yep, that's a great idea. Oh my God, I never thought of that one.
Guess what? Then we're going to attach it to a cryptocurrency coin so we can mine it.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
Mine people's breathing.
So today, judge rules some Ghislaine Maxwell details are too sensational and impure to be disclosed to the public. Thus, most of the government's redactions remain redacted, and more redactions will be added. You remember under Trump, that wasn't the case. Under the Trump, they were all about to be released, and that all got postponed. And now they say they're sensational and impure. Who are they to decide? I mean, think about this. She's going to get off with a hand slap, isn't she? Unfrigging.
She's probably
believable.
already off.
Yep.
She's out in her freaking underwater submarine somewhere, catering to Joe, and, you know what? Epstein's Island probably got a good remodel after the FBI raided it and said, oh, we better make this more secure this time.
So, John Kerry was on a American Airlines flight yesterday in first class and, didn't have a mask on. By the way, I don't know if many people understood that you can buy first class seats on airplanes now where you don't have to wear a mask. You can buy the seats where you don't have to wear a mask. Think about that.
It's all recycled air anyways in the plane.
Like
I
literally went into
the air filters.
Yeah. So I went into the dentist today.
They already have them in the planes.
I went into the dentist today. And Isis had to go to the dentist. So we went into the dentist. And they take us back there. And they're like, oh, we recommend that the parents and anybody else go wait in the car. I said, no, not happening. I'm going back with my daughter. She goes, oh, okay, no problem. And went around. She goes, you need to wash your hands. And they had my daughter washing her hands. And I look at it's antimicrobial soap. And I looked at the lady and I said, I got a question for you. She goes, yeah, what's that? And I go, why do we have to wash our hands? She goes, well, to stop the spread of the virus. And I go, well, that's antimicrobial soap. I go,
it's not antiviral.
It's not antiviral. That's antimicrobial. It doesn't do anything for viruses. And she just looked at me with a blank stare. And I said, you do understand that washing your hands has nothing to do with viruses. It doesn't stop the spread of viruses. And she just looked at me with a blank stare, turned around and walked away.
Unless it was straight bleach.
And then, after I'm done, I take the soap bottle, right? Wash my hands. I grab the towel dispenser, right? She goes right after me, picks up the soap dispenser, washes her hands, takes the towels, touches everything I touched. And I'm sitting there going, where's the logic in this? Did you see that video the other day of Joe Biden, the Secretary of Defense of Kamala, where the dude runs in, he spray downs everything when Joe Biden goes in there?
Yeah,
she
that
goes,
was ridiculous.
President Biden. She walks away, the dude runs in there, moves everything, sprays it all down, wipes it all down. This is getting out of hand, guys. This is just getting absolutely absurd. And now we're seeing the hypocrisy and the arrogance. John Kerry on an American Airlines flight, no mask. Absolutely no mask. This is interesting. So we are coming up on some interesting things. So this was from Lee Zeldin, Representative Lee Zeldin. Many people within the U.S. actually have little confidence in the democracy of the U.S., says the Chinese Communist government that makes dissenters disappear. Biden admin is learning the hard way that China is not coming to the table in good faith. So basically what's happening here is China's trying to strong arm the United States, because we have this meeting, right, that's happening in Alaska, and Chinese FM Yang threatens firm actions in response to U.S. interference on arrival from Alaska talks. They say that U.S. is a champion of cyber attacks. Black Americans are slaughtered in the U.S., and U.S. military might and financial supremacy is used to pressure other countries around the world, all of which are just Chinese propaganda being spread and disseminated into the United States. So this is really interesting, and so this kind of leads us into the next part of what's going to happen here. Now, what do you think is going to happen when the United States goes up and meets with China in Alaska?
What do I think?
Yeah.
He was looking at you.
One second.
I mean, I think that everything that Trump tried to put in place, they're just gonna say, throw it out the window, not give two craps, because they don't really care whether they can or can't. They're just gonna do it anyways. So all the tariffs that were put on China and Chinese goods gonna go away. I think China's gonna they're gonna throw they're gonna throw us in the ringer.
Yep.
What do you think, Jay?
It's game on like Donkey Kong, man.
Yeah.
I just can't get over the conversation I had before I jumped on, and I'm dumbfounded by it. I fucking dumbfounded by it. Man, life knows how to throw you curveballs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this whole thing, I was thinking about this whole thing not too long ago, and the one thing they said was it's going to take us as much time to fix it as it took to put it into place. What that means, when you think of the three movies, we never left the first movie. We're in the second movie, and the third movie will be about fixing this. And I really do think it's a 12-year plan.
I don't really think there is any fixing this. I really don't.
I don't know.
How do you fix it? Half the population.
Off air, I'll tell you.
Half the population won't even recognize that there's a problem. If at first you can't recognize that there's a problem, then there's no fixing it, because they don't think it needs to be fixed. So they're not going to work with a solution if they don't even think there's a problem. So I mean, it's truly Wonderland. It's crazy. It is literally it's absolutely crazy, like how logic and reason have just completely flew the coop for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? I have seen some people on the left starting to come around, and they're wide awake now. They're like, whoa, man, like how the hell did I miss this? How did I not know this? But the one thing that I just like this whole cancel culture, right? We can cancel Pepe Le Pew, but with Cardi B goes on live TV and it does that
her WAP dance.
Yeah, did you see some of that?
No, I don't watch any of that stuff.
I only saw it because I saw a clip of it.
I hate their music.
Yeah, me too. But it was so
dead.
It was so disgusting and appalling. Like, she's literally like, there's two women like this, and they kind of, have their crotches together, and they're insinuating, a sexual motion. And it's like, wait a minute. We'll cancel Dr. Seuss. We'll cancel, Pepe Le Pew. But we're not going to cancel this? Come on. When as a society do you start to wake up? When as a society do you say, this is the shit we should be canceling? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, I mean... it's kind of... It's interesting because, not so many years ago... there's all that outrage about, like, video games and the violence in video games. And now it's like, okay, I was all right with the video games. If they weren't old enough to play it, then they shouldn't have been playing it. But, you know, like this Cardi B stuff, I mean, they're pushing this on, like, young children. You know, like, young children.
I give you a prime example of this. Melissa showed me a TikTok, and she goes, "I'm just not all right with this." And I could barely hear the music, but it was the Cardi B song, and it was a mom with her 4-year-old girl doing the dance. Like, what are you instilling in your child, right? That these lyrics are okay? You know, granted, I get it. I swear, you know, not the best parent. I swore in front of my kids, but, you know, I also didn't let them listen to that kind of garbage music with, you know, even the rap music that was, you know, saying the N-word with the A. Why? If, you know, I wish I could find this TikTok because it was so good today. It was basically a white dude talking and a black girl listening to him. So they're duetting. And everything he was saying about people being white and him having white privilege, he just goes into all the things that he didn't have advancement for. And this black girl, in the meantime, has got all of this stuff up. And she's like, I had this. I had this. I had this. I had this. So he's saying, as a white person, I didn't have all of these advantages. And she's saying, as a black person, she had all of these advantages. And at the end, she says, there's only one race in this country that has a privilege right now. And I was blown away by it because I'm thinking, one, how much hate mail is she going to get for this, right?
Yeah.
Right? But, you know, there's some truth to that. I'm not saying by any means that there isn't oppression in some sense, but it's not an oppression of skin color. It's an oppression by your own government. That's what it is. It's an oppression, or it's not an oppression, but it's the government plotting you, making you think that you are oppressed. And this is the group that did it to you. No, folks.
Well, I mean,
there's one group of people that can unite us in a heartbeat. Actually, two groups of people, and that is our politicians and our media. Right? They can take it and they can turn it on, and we can be united in a heartbeat. Those are the two controlling factors of why we are at each other's throat right now.
Well, I mean, think about
it. You asked me, how can you fix it? I can't answer that question on air. Honestly.
Well, I gotcha. Yeah, they'll delete us because we have a dissenting opinion. But I still think that they're utilizing these, you know, inclusion and diversity, and it's honestly
separatism.
They're making that a mockery. It's like these people, they want to be included, but they are forcing you to exclude them at the same time. It's like an oxymoron, right? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, I am this, and you didn't identify me as this. So they're excluding themselves from being identified as the rest of the whole.
That's right.
Right?
They're excluding themselves as an entity outside, which is separatism. So basically what is being promoted is not unity, it's separatization. And you do that by basically labeling people, by you know, saying one people are racist. And you know, the question, like that lady, you know, that was saying basically it's other people that determine if people are racist. And the question I ask is if you believe someone is racist, okay, does that make – so how about this? Think about – I'm just going back to this one lady I saw on TikTok, young girl, probably 19, 20, and she's just going off, and she was a minority. And the question I wanted to ask her is, do you think that white people are inferior to you? That's the question I wanted to ask her.
You should have duetted it.
Well, but that's the question is, does she believe that white people are inferior to her? And I guarantee you the answer would be a most likely yes. Now that's basically supremacy by definition. That is the heart of racism. And I mean, that's what the organizations like La Raza, they represent. Now, the question here is not why it's happening. We know why it's happening. This is how a color revolution is formulated, is you divide and conquer. The question is do you bring these people together? And I actually been thinking about creating a podcast called Common Ground. And the Common Ground podcast is where we bring on people with differing and opposing views. And we literally just have a conversation. And we try to find common ground. But see, that's dangerous to the deep state. That's dangerous to politicians and to the media. Because all they do is they produce legislation, laws, and rules. They produce everything they can possibly do to produce division. The media perpetuates it. Politicians create it, and they do that through agenda.
That's a dangerous podcast, though. Like, I almost think you'd want a supporting cast of, like, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens on your side, because, there's some incredibly intelligent people there who can debate, and you can listen to their side and be like, wow, this is really, really influential. I'm not saying that I would agree with it, but I'm saying is that it's influential.
I don't know.
And,
I think you have to have normal people. Normal people that each one normal, that they think they're normal on this side of the thought process.
Not a self-proclaimed.
Yeah.
Not a self-proclaimed, oh, you're a racist and you're a racist and you have a little bit of racism and you have your privilege over there. Not that. I'm talking about everyday, average, normal people.
Of it, though? I mean, at the end of the day, if you have two opposing views, at some point there's going to be an argument. One is not going to change the other view. So I'm trying to understand that.
Okay, well, think about it like this: is if you understand the basis of how propaganda works, of how people are manipulated with the decision, then just listening to people, you can understand it. I was at CU Boulder when Charlie Kirk came. Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens came, and I was with Charlie Kirk. It was the Young Conservatives group was there. Met Charlie Kirk, hung out with him for a little while, and we had a whole bunch of liberals just surrounding us with, their boards and racist and you guys are KKK and all this stuff. And I said, seriously, and all they want to do is yell, scream, and yell and scream at me. And I said, does anybody want to have a logical discussion? Does anybody want to talk about facts? Does anybody want to sit down? And they didn't. And here's the thing. That's not who we're inviting on here. That's not who I would invite on to that show. I would want to invite somebody who can sit down and have an intellectual conversation and say, you know what, Joshua, look, I think that the United States needs to be socialist because look at what we have here, right? We have massive increases in poverty. We have people in the inner city that can't afford, health insurance or on mass welfare. We already have the social systems in place that are supporting them, right? And for me, understanding that, and I'd say, well, what caused that problem? And they'll say, well, capitalism. But no, it wasn't capitalism. What caused that problem? Because it's not the system that's the problem. It's the people in the system that are utilizing it. It's the people in the system that construe the laws and the rules, who abuse the laws and the rules.
To control people.
People. It's corruption. It's manipulation. That's not the system being a failure. That's the people being the failure. And it's people not doing anything about those people that is the failure and breakdown in society. So therefore, it's not poverty is not the problem. Okay? Lack of medical insurance is not the problem. The problem is the politicians, the media, the globalists, the world elite have an agenda. And that agenda is they don't give a shit about you and me, and they'll do anything to implement their agenda upon you. And for 50 years, they've decimated our cities. For 50 years, they've decimated the middle class. And they're going to continue to do it until they win. And that's not because of capitalism. They did it because of capitalism. Now, let me reiterate that. It's not because of capitalism. They did it because of capitalism. Because capitalism is dangerous to a well-informed society. A well-informed society that plays all the rules. Now, one of the best examples that I can give is the current market dynamic that we have today. Wall Street, we have the crypto markets. If you're not paying attention, you're not seeing what's happening. We have multiple YouTube channels out there that have been calling for, oh, Bitcoin's on its bull run, Bitcoin's on its bull run, and they all go out there and everybody pumps all their money in, and oh my God, the crypto's going to surge, and the market's going to surge because people are going to put their $1,400 into the stock market, people are going to put their $1,400 into crypto, and it's all going to skyrocket. In the last 2 days, you want to know what you've had? You have Bitcoin and Ether surging, and then all of a sudden, dump. And people say, oh, well, that dumping is some whale just offloaded a whole bunch of money. Actually not, because that's not how it works. The reason that happens is because you have derivatives markets, and you have this in the stock market, and you have this in cryptocurrency. And when you have this, is people can borrow money on leverage. This means that if I have $1 million, I can borrow $10 million, $50 million, $20 million on leverage. $5 million, dropping $5 million of Bitcoin at a profit margin. Okay, if you're in the profit and you drop $5 million of Bitcoin, that is going to crumble the price of Bitcoin. And what happens is that price starts to drop, and people who are on long positions who don't have enough margin balance, that means that people that are already extended to about a 92% margin balance, they start to get liquidated. Well, guess what gets liquidated? Bitcoin. Their holdings in that margin balance is Bitcoin. So it liquidates their Bitcoin, which means that it sells off the Bitcoin. So if you have all these people on long positions and one person starts this cascade effect, all these other positions start selling off because they all get liquidated. And what does that mean? It means all those $1,400 checks that just got invested into crypto lost more than $1,400 on those gambles. Because it's a freaking casino. And this is what Wall Street and the big whales and the bankers are trying to do. They're making you think that it's unstable. They want you out. They want the retail investor out. They want the little man to lose because they know that 76% of everybody invested right now in the cryptocurrency is the retail investor, is the little guy. And they don't want you involved. And this is why they keep on crashing it over and over. They keep on liquidating positions over and over, and they're going to continue to do it over and over until the majority of you people are scared and out. And then they're going to call for regulations. Their friends will come in and regulate it. They'll get the upper hand. They'll get all the tax benefit. And then it'll skyrocket and go to a $10 trillion market. Because that's the way it's done, and that's the way it's always been done. And see, people like us who have our money invested in these things, in these assets like the stock market, NASDAQ, cryptocurrency, we need to go back to these people and say, you know what? We don't want your casinos anymore. Get rid of the derivatives market. Make it illegal to short positions. Watch how fast our economy grows, the GDP increases, and people make revenue and profits over and over and over again, and we don't need global basic income. Because you want to know what happens? Is people start having dividends from their investments, and that becomes their income. That's what needs to happen. And we need to take that, and we need to go secondarily, and we need to protest taxes. Man, I should run for president.
Yeah, you should. Don't pay your taxes, then run for president. So then when they ask you your tax return, I didn't pay it. I don't pay taxes. I don't identify as a president that pays taxes. And you know what? I don't identify any of you American citizens out there as citizens that pay taxes.
Well, guess what? You know the president, Congress, and Senate don't pay taxes?
I know they don't.
They don't pay taxes, and they all get pensions for their life.
Yep.
100% salary for life. Plus medical insurance for life.
So
Isn't that nuts?
They don't pay taxes on their income from being a senator, or they don't pay income from
tax exempt for the rest of their life.
And it's basically legal for them to insider trade too.
Yep.
Yeah. It's fucking bullshit.
Yep.
Different set of laws, different set of rules, man.
Yep.
It pays to be wealthy. No, it does. This is their own laws. This is their own rules. It pays to be
by them.
wealthy.
They made the rules. Think about it. They made the rules to benefit themselves.
Yep.
That's right.
That's how they vote themselves raises.
Yeah.
Well, the standard American citizen is like going broke They're like, we're doing such a great job. Let's give ourselves a raise.
I mean, then you got things like 401ks, you got things like,
Yeah.
Regular investments. If you are not a multimillionaire bringing in millions of dollars of investment capital a year, you are being taxed to death. Plain and simple. 401k is nothing more than a piggy bank for Wall Street, a piggy bank for investors, and nothing for you. Well, but my financial advisor says I'll have $1.3 million at 65. See how long that's going to last, and I doubt you'll have that much. You're better off putting it in gold.
Yeah, I'd have to say the statement now is the rich are getting richer, but the poor are getting more plenty, not poorer. You can't when you're poor, you can't get any poorer than poor.
That's right.
Like there's a rock bottom of like how poor you are, but the amount of people that are being poor now is increasing.
That's right. So the rich get richer, the
I
poor
want you to
get
think
more and more
about this.
uncomfortable.
I want you to think about this, though.
They're going to become the Impossible Burgers.
Our poor still have cell phones. Our poor still make more money than people in third world countries do.
That's right.
Only the ones taking advantage of the system.
No, I mean,
A
the
lot
majority of them do.
Dude, a lot of them aren't. Dude, they're not making that much money off of being like the system, man.
Well, but here's the thing is,
I think that's a misconception.
The
Jay,
average
honestly.
poor person here in the United States of America lives better than 88% of the world's population,
I
who
agree
are
with
in
that.
some of the most absurd levels of poverty. I mean, I've been to El Salvador. I can show you pictures of anorexic cows that I took because it was so shocking to me. Of people willing to do anything, and I mean anything, for a buck. People willing to sell their children for $1, $5. Okay? That's poverty. And people here in America, we take that for granted. We should be thankful for what we have, and we should leverage your position. You should leverage what you have. Here's the thing, and Jay said it the best, is every single person out there that we consider, maybe poor, has a cell phone. They have internet, right? They might even have a car or a bus pass, or they have an apartment. They have a roof over their head, right?
Listen, I saw a person the other day who we would consider to be poor. Her hair was done. She was showered. She had good clothes on. Her nails were done. And she had her cell phone. I mean,
I saw a panhandler today, dude. The dude had better shoes on than me. Right?
I get it.
And his sign made no sense. He mean, Army veteran, something battalion, Denver, and I'm like, that don't even exist. Like, what are you doing?
Look, when it's more profitable to be a panhandler and hold up a sign on the side of the road than actually work
Get
a low-paying job,
there you go.
what are you gonna?
One of those identifies as a tax exempt.
Not only that, like you think he claims all that money that he panhandles on taxes?
Not a chance.
No, he gets his food stamps, and then his cash is his freaking party money, man.
Yeah.
There was a TikTok today of a man and his wife. They're in a car and they're like, the guy's like, she's like, oh my God, honey, you got to give him money. You got to give him some money. And he's like, okay, watch this. So he has a $20 bill and he has it all folded up. And the guy comes walking over. He gives the guy the money and he follows the guy. The guy jumps in a Tesla and takes off. He was panhandling on the streets. Let that sink in.
Yep.
Oh, is that the dude that gave him the $20 bill with liar written on the back?
Oh, I didn't see if they. No, I didn't.
Gave him. It said liar on the. He had a Sharpie and it said liar.
Yeah, he was driving a fucking Tesla.
I saw that video, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so the thing is that who am I to judge? Dishonest people will have their day in front of God, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a sad state of affairs. I mean, I got one of those calls today, like your social security card is suspended, and I'm just like, man, those people that are making those calls, they just have no ethical or moral standard. They don't understand the karmic action that's going to come back to haunt them.
Well, their karmic standard is a lot different than ours. They're living in a
Hold
country
on.
that we consider like poor.
Yeah,
Did
that's
you
true.
just say that they said that your social security cards?
Oh, you haven't got these phone calls yet?
Oh no, I have. But I would be like,
Your social
sweet.
security number is
Right now,
suspended.
officially.
Like, sweet. I don't have to pay taxes?
I don't exist anymore. I literally
Right.
do not exist.
Wait, does this mean I don't have to use it anymore? Yes, sir. That means you. Well, thanks, dude. Well, the police are going to come arrest you. I'm like, how are they going to find me? They don't have my social security number anymore. They lost it. It's suspended. Scammers, yeah. But listen, I'm telling you right now is that there is a pending financial crisis building up. And what they're doing right now is they're dropping various systems.
Yeah.
They are taking people's wealth and money. They are scaring the shit out of the retail investor that has been pushed into the system by places like Wall Street Bets, all these YouTube channels saying, get into crypto, get into crypto, get into crypto. I'm telling you, get invested in crypto, buy and hold. Just buy and hold. If you want to try the margin bets, you're taking a risk. You are. This is what we talk about in our crypto group. We explain this thoroughly. But just buy and hold. Just close your eyes. Don't even look at the balance. Just let it happen. Okay? Because what they're doing is they're trying to push as many people out as possible. Like I told everybody today, I said, we got into crypto before the banks. Now the banks, they don't want you in there. The rich and wealthy people, they don't want you in there. They don't want you to be a part of this. And so they're going to do everything in their power to get you out. And if that means dropping Bitcoin to 15,000, they'll do it. That means dropping Ethereum back down to $400, they'll do it. And you know what? It's a big possibility. Because, you know what? What is fiat currency to them? What is money? What is dollars? What is billions of dollars to them?
Nothing, because they just print more.
Because they just print more.
It doesn't. It's a fictitious system that they hold the keys to.
It's monopoly money, and they own the printing press.
Yeah.
And so what they'll do is they'll drop Bitcoin $20 billion. Okay? And then they'll go out, take some more of their fake money, and they'll buy right back in at a cheaper price. That's what they'll do, and that's most likely what they're going to do. And then you'll see your bull run. And everybody will miss out on the low prices. Because people will get scared, they'll panic, and they'll cash out. And then you'll have massive tax implications because of those 100, 200, $300 million Bitcoin people just cashed out their whole position. Right? All the people on longs get liquidated. Now they're in freaking financial crises. But this is what we're seeing. We're seeing the setup for a financial crisis. Real estate markets, oh, it's coming, baby. It's coming. Watch out. 20 to 80% decrease in real estate prices in the next 2 years. The bubble's massive. It ain't going
look
away.
what the feds did. So this is actually, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I think her husband's in the finances, in the finance world. So her dad was there kind of going over something, and he said, how's business this year? And I said, so far so good, but I'm waiting for the feds to announce what they're going to do. Well, interestingly, they said they're going to keep rates at the same rate. Well, what did we talk about a couple of days ago? Biden's got an incentive for first-time home buyers. We have a low market, or we have a
High
aggressive market, low inventory, and cheap money.
Say that again. We have
a buyer's market or a seller's market, low inventory, and cheap money.
So you have a lot of buyers, low inventory, and cheap money at the top of a bubble.
Yep.
That is a scenario for disaster.
So what's going to happen is, so you guys understand, first-time home buyers are like, okay, they go in, they look at a house, they get in a bidding war, right? Or the people get into bidding wars, they inflate the prices of the market, all this cheap money. Eventually, the market's going to crash.
Yep. And if I had equity in my house,
the government's going to be like, how did this happen?
Oh, damn you people, damn you Trump, and damn you homeowners for doing that, and you shouldn't have been moving to those states and pumping up the prices, and now we got to bail out the banks.
Yeah.
And then it gets a little different. Because you remember what Iceland did to their bankers when that happened last time?
They didn't hang them, did they?
No, they arrested them. They arrested all of them. Life prison sentences. Yep. So it's coming. And I think that we all see it. We got the border crisis, and basically what they're going to do is they're going to overextend the reach of every aspect of society. They're going to make it so ludicrous. They're going to be so deep in the wonderland that you're going to be like, none of this makes any sense, and all of a sudden, it's going to instantly make sense. The financial markets are going to collapse, and they're going to try to usher in socialism right after.
Yeah.
Yep. But it's coming. But
it is.
So
great show last night too. That guy was great.
Oh, he was awesome, wasn't he?
Yeah, everybody really liked him too. You got to try to get him back on.
Oh, we'll get him back on next week or so. I'd like to talk to him a little bit more. I had a lot more to say, and we didn't have much time, so we'll definitely get him back on. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about deep underground military bases. We're going to be talking about strategic military bases. We're going to be talking about alien military bases. Some interesting things. See if one of our special guest hosts want to join us. Amicus, Guy Plus Beard, or Vince. What's that?
Yeah, and 80s music.
And 80s music after Fringe.
Oh, yeah.
You know how we digress.
Yeah. But, yep, so join us tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for Conversations on the Fringe, where we're going to be talking about DUMBs, deep underground military bases, military secrecy, these types of things. It's going to be a fun episode. Other than that, for Jeff, Jason, and myself, thank you for joining us tonight. Don't forget to hit us up on socialredpill.com. Much love and respect. God bless. Take care. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.